Imagine this for a moment. The Epstein file shocked the entire world. Billionaires, celebrities, politicians, and powerful businessmen were suddenly linked to one man. People who had money, fame, influence, and everything they could want in life. And yet, this case involved some of the most disturbing crimes imaginable, including abuse and exploitation of children. So the real question is not just what happened. The real question is, how? How can people who already have power, wealth, and status still fall into something so dark? And when exposed, why do they fight so hard to escape punishment instead of facing responsibility? The answer is not just crime. The answer is psychology. Power changes the brain. That is not an opinion. It is a psychological fact. When someone becomes rich or famous, their mind slowly starts to separate them from reality. Rules feel like they belong to other people. Consequences feel distant. Normal limits feel optional. At first, it is small. A favor here, a rule bent there, a secret kept. And the brain learns a dangerous lesson. I can do things others cannot. I am protected. I am different. This creates something called moral immunity. The mind stops asking, is this right? And starts asking, can I get away with this? That is the first door into dark behavior. Now, let's talk about manipulation. Manipulation does not look evil at the start. It looks friendly. It looks helpful. It looks like opportunity. Influence is built slowly, through gifts, through attention, through access, through making people feel special. The brain responds to this with loyalty. It says, this person helped me. I owe them. I should trust them. And when trust enters, logic weakens. In powerful social circles, this effect multiplies. Everyone knows someone. Everyone depends on someone, and no one wants to be the person who speaks out. Not because they are evil, but because they are afraid. Now comes rationalization. Rationalization is how the brain protects itself from guilt. People do not wake up and say, today I will become a monster. Instead, they tell themselves things like, it's complicated. I don't know the whole story. This is just how things work. Everyone in this circle accepts it. The brain creates excuses to survive emotionally. And once that happens, emotional detachment begins. Victims stop feeling like humans. They become numbers, names, problems, risks. This is how heinous acts become possible. Not because people are born evil, but because their minds slowly shut down empathy. Now let's talk about fear. Fear controls everyone, including the powerful. When scandals are exposed, survival mode activates. Lawyers appear, public statements are crafted, blame is shifted, silence becomes strategy. This is not courage, this is instinct. When someone is caught doing something horrible, their image becomes more important than their morality. They don't ask, how do I fix this? They ask, how do I escape this? This is where cowardice appears. Not physical cowardice, psychological cowardice. Running from truth, hiding behind money, using influence as armor. Now here is the most dangerous part. Group protection. Powerful people rarely stand alone. They exist inside networks, political networks, business networks, social networks, media networks, and networks protect themselves. If one person falls, others might fall too. So silence becomes safety, distance becomes defense, and accountability disappears. Psychologically, this creates a bubble. Inside the bubble, reality is rewritten, truth is delayed, and justice is negotiable. And the public sees only the surface, while the system works underneath. This is why cases like the Epstein file matter, not just because of what happened, but because of what it revealed. It showed how power can distort morality, how wealth can weaken conscience, how influence can delay justice. It showed that being successful does not make someone good, and being famous does not make someone right. Now, let's turn this toward you. Because this is not just about billionaires or politicians. These psychological patterns exist in everyday life too, in workplaces, in families, in relationships, in friend groups. Whenever someone has power and others are afraid to question them, the same system begins. Status replaces truth. Fear replaces honesty. Loyalty replaces morality. And that is how small injustices become big ones. So how do you protect yourself? First, question authority, not emotionally, logically. Second, separate status from truth. Being rich does not mean being right. Being famous does not mean being innocent. Third, watch for manipulation. Gifts that buy silence, praise that controls behavior, fear that stops questioning. And most importantly, never let comfort blind your conscience, because the scariest crimes do not begin with violence, they begin with excuses. The Epstein file is not just a scandal, it is a psychological warning. It warns us what happens when power meets secrecy, when influence meets fear, and when morality meets money. And it teaches one final lesson. People do not fall into darkness suddenly, they slide into it slowly, one choice at a time, one excuse at a time, one silence at a time. If this video made you think, subscribe to Brainverse, because understanding psychology is not about curiosity, it's about protection. Protecting your mind, protecting your judgment, protecting your future. And remembering this, the most dangerous prison is not made of steel, it is built inside the human mind.